Right, one of the biggest mistakes new resellers make, and honestly one of the biggest mistakes made, is thinking that cheap stock means profit. At the start it's brilliant. You walk into a charity shop, you buy Ralph Lauren, you see Fred Perry, you buy it for £4-5, and you think, yeah, I'm going to make money on this. You think, this is actually doable. Then the sales start coming in, your phone pings that irreplaceable eBay ching ching, the dopamine hits start, you sell something while you're at work, you sell something on your way home from work, you go to bed and you get another sale. And honestly, that feeling's addictive. You genuinely feel like you've figured out how to print money. You found a side hustle that nobody else has noticed. But then the reality kicks in, because you start noticing that everything you've sold, not all of the money hits your bank account. eBay takes a cut. You have to pay for postage. You have to pay for packaging. You need petrol to go to the charity shops. Something arrives damaged, you get a return because the colour's different in the photo to what it is in real life. And suddenly that £20 profit turns into £4.36 and a mild headache. Now, what I'm about to tell you is all detailed in my book, Road to 100k. I've stuck a link underneath, so if you want to check it out, go ahead. It's completely free. The first chapter's there. All you have to do is download it and listen at your pleasure. One of the massive mistakes that I first made was wholesale. Now, wholesale sounds incredible. No traipsing around charity shops, no lugging big bags. The stock all gets sent to your house. You save tons of time, but in reality, it's something quite different. When I first started buying wholesale, I thought, rails of branded clothing, it's gonna sell super quick. I'm not going to have to process as much. You list it all and the sales roll in, cha-ching. At least that's what I thought. I remember opening one wholesale bale thinking, I've absolutely smashed it. Start pulling items out. One's got bobbles, one's got a broken zip, one's got marks, one's got holes in it. And then I pulled out a pair of jeans that actually had a poo stain in it. Now that's not nice on any day of the week. That was the moment that I realised wholesalers are not your mates. Some suppliers are brilliant. Others send you stuff where you genuinely think, how has this passed through human hands and been allowed to be sold? And because I was new, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. I thought branded automatically meant profitable, but it doesn't. You can lose money very quickly buying bad wholesale. And honestly, I think this is where new resellers tend to go wrong. They skip the learning stage. They want a shortcut immediately. But genuinely, the best education, your tuition fees are best earned in charity shops and car boots. Because when you're paying £5 instead of £8 for an item, it gives you a margin of error to make some mistakes and to learn from them. Your mistakes are cheaper. Then I moved to hand picks. Now, hand picks are safer because you're choosing the stock yourself. You go to the warehouse, you hand pick the item, you take it home. You think, surely I can't mess this up. Wrong again. I remember one of my first hand picks. Honestly, the pile was unbelievable. Ralph Lauren, Paul & Shark, Burberry, Moncler coats. Gotta be happy with that. I thought I was flying. Then one of the Moncler jackets turned out to be fake. Then I realised I hadn't factored in the VAT, the 20% that they put on top when I'm buying. Then eBay takes their cut. Then there's promoted listings. Then there's coupons. Then there's returns. And suddenly, after all of that effort, I was basically breaking even. That hurts when you spend hours sourcing, steaming, getting the items ready, measuring, listing, and you realise you basically worked for free. But that experience taught me something really important. The brand almost means nothing. You need margin, you need demand. This is where reselling stops being treasure hunting and it becomes a business. Now when I buy stock, I work backwards. I check sold listings, I check the sell-through rate, because turnover matters and cash flow matters. You don't want your loft looking like a vintage clothing avalanche. And honestly, sell-through rate changed everything for me. This is one of the biggest upgrades a reseller can make, because hope is not a business model. Just because you like something doesn't mean anyone else wants to buy it. You need to know what actually moves. For example, if there's 1,000 Wrangler shirts listed and 600 sold recently, that's considered strong demand. But if there's 1,000 listed and only 40 sold, don't touch it. that thing is going to sit in your death pile for 6 months. And over time you start spotting patterns. Cashmere sells well, merino wool sells well, made in Portugal, Italy means better fabric. Levi's 501 have a better sell-through rate than other Levi's. Carhartt has a loyal audience. XL and 2XL sell great on eBay, but they don't necessarily sell great on Vinted. These are the little details that you need to learn. And condition matters massively. One tiny hole can destroy profit. One stain can turn a £40 flip into a £20 flip. That's why I check collars, cuffs, the lining, check the whole item over. Because once you've had enough bad wholesale, you stop trusting clothing labels and start inspecting like a detective. And honestly, I didn't learn it all overnight. I learned loads from watching other resellers that are ahead of me. People like Chatty Pete and Tekken Sports and Sully's Vintage. Watching their videos genuinely saved me loads of money, because you start understanding brands, fabrics, sell-through, and what actually works. That's the thing with reselling. Most of the money is in the knowledge, not the stock. Anyone can fill a room with clothes, but not anyone can sell them. Because honestly, every reseller pays their tuition fees. Mine came through fake jackets, poo-stained jeans, terrible wholesale buys, and rails of stock that I hate looking at. But those mistakes are probably the reason why I actually started improving. And if you're watching this thinking about starting reselling, or maybe you've already started and you're buying loads of random stuff hoping it works, here's the truth. The people that make the most money long term are not the people who buy the cheapest stock. They're the people who understand demand. That's the difference. So tonight, go and look at your last 10 purchases. Not the ones you hope you will sell, the ones that actually sold. Find the patterns, because that's where the business starts. And if you want the free audiobook chapter from Road to 100k, the link's down below. It's the perfect thing to stick on in your earpods whilst you're driving around charity shops, going to car boots, pretending you're just looking. Peace out.